Many people are under the mistaken belief that women's rights advocacy is passé because women have gained parity with men, at least in the affluent countries of the West. But this is far from true. Let us begin with the so-called First World. Females in the United States population are 50.5%, while females in the U.S. House of Representatives are only 28.5%, and in the U.S. Senate, 25%. And the total number of U.S. presidents who are female? 0%. In the U.S. civilian labor force, females over the age of 16 are 58.7%, while the median earnings for women are only 83.1% of the earnings of U.S. males. This wage gap is rendered even more surprising when one sees that women attain higher levels of education than men in the United States. And it is not simply a matter of underrepresentation and economic deprivation. Women are also the victims of violence: domestic violence, sexual violence, human trafficking, child marriage, femicide, and digital/online violence. Here are some of the stats on the violence against women in the United States. The National Organization for Women reports that in 2005, 1,181 women were murdered by an intimate partner, i.e. an average of 3 women a day. According to the National Crime Victimization Survey, 232,960 women in the United States were raped or sexually assaulted in 2006, i.e. more than 600 women every day. The situation for women around the world is even worse. Estimates published by WHO indicate that about 1 in 3 women worldwide have been subjected to either physical and/or sexual intimate partner violence or non-partner sexual violence in their lifetime. If that statistic didn't run a shiver down your spine, here it is again. 1 in 3 women around the world have been subjected to violence. In Afghanistan, women cannot attend school or work outside of home, something that Amnesty International has termed death in slow motion. In Iran, protesters of the morality police's actions are suffering backlashes that include death. In many conflict zones around the world, rape of women is a war tactic. In New Zealand, the woman prime minister has suffered relentless sexist ridicule and criticism. The juggernaut of the patriarchy is always at work to maintain the status quo. Feminism is a simple concept, equality for women, yet the power of the patriarchy is such that it has been able to turn many of the potential beneficiaries of feminism, i.e. women, against it. For example, women anti-feminists campaigned unsuccessfully against women's right to vote in the early 20th century, and successfully against the ratification of the Equal Rights Amendment into the U.S. Constitution in the 1970s. The most recent wins for the patriarchy have been the overturning of abortion rights by the U.S. Supreme Court and the suppression of the Me Too movement through shaming and ridicule of women and crippling lawsuits claiming defamation. She's the First is a feminist organization with the ultimate goal of righting the patriarchy's wrongs. STF puts girls' voices at the center of conversations that affect their own lives and teams up with grassroots organizations to make sure that these girls are educated, respected, and heard. STF impacts the lives of girls for the better by providing training and feminist mentorship, strong sexual and reproductive health and rights education, and girl-centered programs, flexible funding for members of our STF partner coalition, a global network for practitioners, and tools, curricula, and resources for organizations to strengthen their girl-centered programming. Please help in the fight for girls' rights by voting for She's the First in this year's Project for Awesome. Thank you.